The last thing is, as all of you, I just want to reiterate how proud we are that you are back today, and you are doing what you signed up to do, which is train to be ready to deploy to protect your fellow soldiers on behalf of your nation. General Lubas and I were reflecting on the way here. If any of you have deployed or had trauma in other parts of your life, oftentimes like the badness around it will hit you a couple of days, weeks, or months later. We're going to have people you can talk to, counselors around. Talk to them today, talk to them next week. We want you to take care of yourself. It may be a little bit until this moment really fully hits you, and that's okay. But just know that you can talk to anyone around you. We are here for you. We love you. President Trump is grateful for you. Secretary Hegseth is grateful for you. And we will stand by all of you as your colleagues recover and return to the unit.
Let's give everybody a big round of applause.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
First, I want to thank you for joining us. For those who did not join us yesterday, I am Lieutenant Colonel Angel Tomko, and I'm the spokesperson for the 3rd Infantry Division. I'd like to start by saying our prayers and our focus is with the injured soldiers and their families, as well as those impacted within our Fort Stewart and Hunter Army Airfield community by this tragic event. We are incredibly thankful for the outpouring of support from our coastal Georgia community and to all the local, state, and federal agencies who responded and stood by us during this challenging time. Although this has deeply affected us, our military community and our dog-faced soldiers are strong. As you just saw, our soldiers getting recognized for their strength, character, and heroism by Honorable Driscoll. And he also visited with them and some of the injured and their families this morning. These soldiers who intervened or provided critical care and support during yesterday's events received awards, and the Secretary of the Army will provide some brief comments and take a few questions. This engagement is on the record, and we will have 15 minutes set aside. A couple of reminders: we will not release any of the names of our injured soldiers at this time. However, we will be able to provide you a status update on their general condition. We will not speculate on the assailants' motives or the circumstances that led to yesterday's events. We'd rather refer those questions to CID, as this is an ongoing investigation. When you ask your questions, we ask that you give your name and affiliation and speak up so that we can hear you and you can hear us. Now, I'd like to introduce the Secretary of the Army, the Honorable Dan Driscoll. His name is spelled D-A-N, last name Driscoll, D-R-I-S-C-O-L-L, and Brigadier General John Lubas, the Commanding General of the 3rd Infantry Division. Spelling is J-O-H-N, Lubas, L-U-B-A-S. And we will have CID representation also available. It's the Deputy Director of the Criminal Investigation Division, Peter Tolentino, P-E-T-E-R, T-O-L-E-B-T-I-N-O, and Special Agent in Charge Ryan O'Connor, R-Y-A-N-O C-O-N-N-O-R. They will be ready to speak to you with regarding the shooting that occurred here yesterday at Fort Stewart. I'd like to now pause and I'll turn it over to them.
Thank you all for being here today. I am Dan Driscoll, Secretary of the United States Army. We had two main goals today. It was to come out and first off to support the victims and their families and the community that experienced the shooting tragedy yesterday. And the second one was to recognize the heroism, the courage, and the selfless service of 6 soldiers who put themselves in harm's way yesterday to take care of their fellow soldiers. I want to start off by saying we're standing at the brigade headquarters of the unit that had the shooting yesterday. And this morning, if you were here, what you would have seen is you would have seen a lot of soldiers out doing physical training and PT. That is incredibly important to us because we are highlighting the resilience of the American soldier. We are showing their strength and their courage under fire. They are going to spend the remainder of the day able to meet with counselors, but also getting back to their jobs, serving the American people. We spent this morning, General Lubas and I, visiting some of our soldiers who are in the hospital and meeting with their families. We talked to doctors, and one of the things that I can say unequivocally is that the fast action of these soldiers under stress and under trauma and under fire absolutely saved lives from being lost. On behalf of President Trump, Vice President Vance, Secretary Hegseth, they wanted me to tell these soldiers, their family, and this community that the entire federal government stands by and stands ready to care for these soldiers and their family. One of the more important things we were able to do this morning, though, is to recognize the heroism of these 6 soldiers. One of the soldiers tackled the person, so just think about this. They were unarmed and ran at and tackled an armed person who they knew was actively shooting their buddies, their colleagues, their fellow soldiers. Another soldier jumped on top of the person to subdue them until federal law enforcement was able to arrive. The other soldiers, immediately using their training that they had developed over years and years, started to take care of mass casualties. The hospital they took them to in March had just run a mass casualty exercise for a moment just like this. The Army does not want these moments to happen, but it stands ready when necessary to act and care for those when it does. The Army this year is 250 years old. That is 1 year older than this nation itself. These American soldiers highlight exactly what the Army has meant to this country. It has been there in some of the most traumatic moments of this nation's history, and it has been resilient, stood strong, and acted on behalf of American citizens. I just want to thank this community. It is absolutely unbelievable to me the speed with which law enforcement officers showed up, paramedics showed up. We had so many people showing up within the first hour that we actually had to stage some of them away. We are so grateful for this community and all that it does for our soldiers and their families. The investigation is ongoing. I imagine a lot of the questions we'll take will be related to that. We will not be able to answer some of those questions, but we are going to do a deep, hard investigation. The findings will be transparent. They will be released to the American public. We commit to you that anything we discover during the investigation that can make this base and other bases like it safer, we will act on as quickly as possible. Now I'm happy to take questions. Standing beside me, I have General Lubas, the Division Commander, and Special Agent O'Connor from Criminal Investigation Division. So let's kick off with some questions.
Mr. Secretary, Robert County at the time.
Hey, Ron.
Hi. Will there be any efforts by the DOD Department to entrances to installations to look for things like personal weapons coming in and out of base?
We are constantly looking at our security protocols on all of our bases, both in CONUS and around the world. We absolutely will want to learn from this investigation. We do not want something like this to ever happen again on an Army base. And so if there are things we can do to improve safety, we will take those steps. But right now, we're really early in the investigation.
Mr. Secretary,
Yeah.
Faith Lubas with ABC
Hey, Faith.
News. Thanks for being here. How did the suspect get a gun, his personal gun, past security onto the base and to his workplace?
Faith, as I just remarked to your colleague, we are still early in the investigation. The shooting happened yesterday. CID, I can have him come up and tell you what we've learned so far. Our commitment is what we learn will be disclosed. It will be transparent. Justice will be brought on behalf of these victims and the community that was harmed.
Hey, good morning. As the Secretary mentioned, this is still an active investigation. We are still processing the scene with all the resources and capabilities that the Army's Criminal Investigation Division has to offer, which is immense. We have surged people from this entire region. In light of the fact that we're still processing, I'm going to have to defer that question for now.
Is it normal to have a personal gun on duty?
No, that would be a violation.
And next question.
Mr. Secretary, Ryan Young from CNN.
Hey, Ryan.
How you doing? You got a chance to meet with families, and obviously you won't have that chance. You got a chance to meet with them, talk to them. You seem very proud of how everyone reacted. Can you tell us what that was like being with families? What state are they in right now? Share with the public who's concerned about the approach. Obviously, please
Ryan, it was heartbreaking sitting in there and seeing their soldier, their daughter sitting behind them, struggling. Our hearts broke with them. We tried to hug them. We tried to convey from the President and the Vice President and the Secretary of Defense that our entire nation mourns with them. We stand behind them. It has been only a couple of hours for them. I think they are still processing through it. But what we wanted to convey is we will be here with them every single step of the way. The United States Army is committing every resource we need to get these soldiers back into their formations as quickly as we possibly can. And then one of the things that we had said at the meeting earlier with the soldiers from this unit is, General Lubas and I were reflecting on this in the car ride. These kind of moments, especially if you've deployed, you've gotten to see them more frequently. The trauma from them often doesn't hit for weeks or months on it. Like it doesn't come as quickly as you might think. And so what we try to encourage for all of our soldiers is to speak up, lean on each other, lean on your leadership, and we will provide the resources, the care, and the love that they need to recover.
About what it was like to meet with families as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the question. It's heartbreaking. It's painful to see them struggling with a wounded family member. They expressed that they were incredibly proud of their soldier, as we are, and they asked for prayers. So we appreciate all the prayers that have been sent our way, and we would ask you to keep them coming.
General Lubas, Korea Shriver with NBC News.
Yes, Scott Evans with CBS News here. Quick question for you. Can you describe the condition of those who are injured? I know that they might have been some updates. I know generally you said yesterday they're expected to be okay, but just nature of the injuries is what?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Of the 5 wounded soldiers, 3 were released yesterday, which is amazing considering the circumstances and the ranges at which they were engaged. 1 soldier remains as an inpatient here at Wynn Army, right here on Fort Stewart. She's doing very well in high spirits. Of course, she's got a little bit of a road to recovery. We're hopeful she may be released as early as this weekend, but that will just depend on how things heal up over the next couple days. And we have 1 soldier that remains at Savannah Memorial Community Hospital, who I visited with the Secretary this morning. She's got a little bit longer road to recovery. The doctors are very positive, but I think it's going to take her a bit longer to recover. But they're very hopeful she's going to make a complete recovery.
General Lubas, this is Priya Shriver with NBC News. I know you guys are prepared for scenarios like this when you go to war zones or on combat deployments, but have you gotten an opportunity to speak to some of the soldiers in this unit about how they're processing that this attack occurred from one of their own, and how are you processing that as a leader?
Yeah, I think we train for this on the battlefield, and it's a different situation when it happens on an installation with one of your own. So I think over the upcoming days and weeks, as the Secretary said, people are going to process this and work through this at different rates, and we know we've got to keep a very close eye on them. We've got to wrap our arms around them. We've got a great community here, a great response. As you saw from all the folks the Secretary recognized this morning, the support from the local community, just amazing. So we feel that this demonstrates that we trained internally for the worst case scenario, and our doctors and our medics and our soldiers responded exactly as we trained them to do. And now our job is to make sure that we care for them as they work through this. Thank you.
And I just want to recognize behind me to the right, these are the 6 soldiers we were able to recognize today. And they, I mean this as sincerely as humanly possible, I and the administration, President Trump, could not be more proud of them. They are everything that is good about this nation. They are the best among us in our country. They are the best among us in the Army. They acted in a way that I think all of us hope we would under fire, but they did. And so we are just so incredibly proud of them. We are so grateful for them. And one of the things we told them and their colleagues is that we will stand with them as long as we need to get them back where they need to be.
Russ, finally, the AP, can you all give us a sense going forward what's going to happen next where the criminal justice process goes? Has the suspect been actually charged yet? If so, what charges is he facing? The military system wants to.
It does.
Suspect is currently in custody, and we are working through the Military Uniform Code of Military Justice process at this time.
Is he going to be transferred to a military detention facility?
That is likely.
Do you know when or which one?
No.
You also talked about processing the scene. Can you tell us what's going on today with processing the scene? I imagine you're going to showcase things, pictures. Can you just describe that for us?
Certainly a tragic scene where our soldiers train, but the processing of the scene would normally encompass digital evidence, forensic evidence, trace evidence, all of those things which our team is currently doing.
And was this captured on video since it was inside the facility?
I can't comment on that at this moment.
Just a point of clarification from yesterday, we were told you, chain of command was not aware of the arrest for the DUI off base. Can you explain if you had been aware what the procedure would have been? Would he have been disciplined? Would he have been taken out?
Because we are one day into the investigation, we can't reveal those kinds of things. I think what we try not to do is speculate or do hypotheticals, and so each soldier, each instance, we take very seriously. Something like a DUI or another issue that could occur in the community, that impacts how we treat that soldier in our formations. We want holistically powerful and controlled and competent soldiers, and so we are constantly reflecting on our mechanisms and procedures as an Army so that we're able to capture that information and hold soldiers accountable.
Are they usually disciplined after an arrest?
It varies based off the case. I think, any other questions?
We got time maybe for one more question.
Yeah.
Jill Kovac from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. General, could you speak at all, just to give some insight at all on the acts of bravery that you've heard about in this episode?
Yeah, sure. I think, as the Secretary mentioned, we have 6 incredible soldiers behind us, but this is just representative of the larger formation. Once the shooter was identified and a threat was identified, we had soldiers that immediately raced and tackled that soldier, wrestled the gun away, subdued him. A second non-commissioned officer jumped on top to further restrain him until the police could arrive. And then simultaneously, no one hesitated. Most of these soldiers behind me and others in the crowd immediately started applying first aid and, most importantly, stopped the bleeding. And when we spoke to the surgeons in the hospital, it was clear that the actions they took, primarily stopping that bleeding before they were loaded up into ambulances and quickly evac'd to Win Army Medical, certainly saved their lives.
Are they back to work today?
I'm sorry, are
Are
we back
they
to work?
back to work, or are they taking some time off?
Well, today is a day that we focused on bringing the brigade and the unit together so they could support one another, so we could, of course, get right back at it, but it's also a day where we're going to focus on ensuring that they're getting the support they need.
General Lubas, can you give us a general sense of how long this all happened from that first shot fired to when your brave soldiers were able to tackle the gunman?
I can. It was an incredibly fast response, and I do attribute this to the training that this installation has done and the teams here have done. So at approximately 10:56, the incident was reported, and that went out over sort of an all-calls net. That triggered a lot of responses. That triggered our installation, emergency medical services, our police, our fire, our emergency medical services to respond. But it's also monitored by the local community, and then we requested assistance. At 11:04, we initial lockdown of the installation. So that was pretty quick. That wasn't me. That was the director of DES and the garrison commanders that immediately made that right call and that decision. At about 11:09, emergency personnel were dispatched to treat the wounded. At 11:35, the shooter was apprehended by the soldiers and the law enforcement. Several behind us, and several in the crowd that we recognized earlier. So really what that means, we had about 13 minutes after that first report, we already had people, ambulances, fire, fish and game, military police responded and were on the scene. And then we had local support from the amazing community here. We had the first SWAT team arrive from off post within 20 minutes on site, which is truly incredible. So we're incredibly grateful for the support from the community. I'm incredible for our leadership that trained our soldiers to react this way. And then as the Secretary said, we're incredibly proud of the soldiers themselves. Thank you.
Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have. Thank you guys for coming. We are going to stand by. I think we have some time that we can talk to the soldiers, but unfortunately, that's the time that we'll have with the Secretary and with General Lubas.
Thank you for coming. We're grateful for all of you.